Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Hindustan Times. My name is Monica Rawal, and today I'm in conversation with a national award winning Bollywood actor who's done both commercial and offbeat cinema. With films like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, Margarita with a Straw, and Devdi, she's got a diverse filmography behind her. So please join me in welcoming Kalki Koechlin. Hey Kalki, welcome to Hindustan Times.
Hello, Monica. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How have you been?
Very good. Considering the circumstances, I'm keeping it together. What a time to have a child, but also in some ways, I'm so grateful for her for, keeping my spirits up.
We keep seeing your lovely pictures and videos with your daughter, and it's just so heartwarming to see that you're getting to spend so much time. Otherwise, you would have take a break from your schedule. But now it's like a forced but unwanted, but like a blessing in disguise for a new mother, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all the contradictions together.
So tell me, how has this lockdown treated you for last almost 3.5 months that we are cooped up inside our houses? Of course, your daughter is taking most of your time, I'm sure, but what else otherwise has kept you busy?
Well, actually, yeah, it's been a pretty intense time for me as a parent, not only because I have a newborn, but because my younger brother, who's 12, had to be sent here because he was in a boarding school and my father was out of the country. He couldn't fly, basically. So he was stuck here. So I was doing homeschooling for a 12-year-old, and looking after a newborn. So I was suddenly like a parent of two. I woke up one morning and I was like, how did I become the parent of two? But it's been a great learning experience. Sappho, I think, has been just the light of my life. She's actually been a very good baby, touch wood. She sleeps well at night and things like that. The breastfeeding, I think, is one thing that is really tough, but I'm glad I've managed to stick to. And it's obviously because I've not been working because of the lockdown that I've been able to do that. Yeah.
Kalki, you've always been someone who I would say has broken stereotypes. I will come to your on-screen past later, but even your pregnancy, the way you have celebrated those 9 months with those series of pictures that one was seeing on social media, it was a very, very kind of a statement-setting thing, I would say, that a lot of women these days are coming up and doing. So I want to understand, was it like it was decided that, oh, I'm just going to celebrate my pregnancy and there is nothing to hide or not share with anyone? Because that definitely inspires so many women out there.
Yeah. Why I wanted to, yeah, I guess, I never really planned these things ahead. But while I was pregnant, I suddenly felt so many things. And I realized how many women are going through this and are quite silent about it. We don't hear them maybe because they don't have a platform, or maybe they just think they're supposed to just suck it up and do it. So I wanted to kind of share my diary and say, you're not the only ones. And also, like, it's normal for a man to help you, the other people in your house to support you, your boss. I think it needs to be normalized
Yeah.
that it is a time where you need the community support.
Absolutely. And what have been the challenges? Like, when we say a working mother going out, coming back, taking care of the child, but you've been literally locked up with your baby inside your house. Has that have
Mm.
more challenges looking after her? You can't take her out, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course, it's had its challenges in the sense that I'm worried about her exposure. This is the age when they need to build up their immunity. So they need to be exposed to other people. Plus, literally, she knows 4 people in the world right now. So she needs to know that, I think she might be really shocked when she goes into a market and sees 1,000 people. So that has been a little worrying, but I guess, this is how it is right now. We have to accept that. Of course, the other side is, I'm somebody who's always been on the go, who's been juggling several things, and suddenly here I am with just reading my book and spending time with my baby, and it's like, oh, I should be doing more with my life. But I imagine that everyone is going through that kind of identity crisis at the moment as well.
True that. Kalki, I'm sure there would have been lots of realizations in this pandemic that one has come across. People have realized the value of life, time, money more than ever before. So, what are a couple of things that you would definitely want your daughter to understand the value of one? Because this is going to be like an experience you will share with her once she's a grown up. Because these lockdown babies
Yeah.
or
One of the things is that, I say that everything's wonderful, but actually you're ending up working so much more in the domestic realm,
Mhm.
just because we don't have the help that we usually have.
Yes,
So you're cleaning your house, you're cooking, you are, in our case, we're changing diapers and washing diapers and all of that stuff. So it's really nice to have a partner who's completely, sharing the load with me. And I really love that Sappho is growing up seeing a father who cooks, who's in the kitchen, who's mopping or fixing things in the house, because she will realize that that's what to expect from a man, and not just to expect somebody who's out all day and brings in the money. So yeah, I think that's a very important lesson.
so are the diaper duties also being shared by both the partners?
Yes, absolutely. There's no way I'm only doing that. Also, because we're using cloth diapers most of the time,
Yeah.
we use reusable diapers to try and be environmentally okay. So, yeah, that makes the work harder.
Absolutely. So, switching back from the lockdown, like, of course, you were pregnant when the lockdown happened. Before that, on the work front, what was keeping you busy before all this crisis hit us?
Well, I had taken a break because I was, going to have a baby. So for 3 months after, I didn't want to do anything. So in a way, that those first few months were a blessing for me to be at home. But after that, you start getting itchy when you start hearing that there was supposed to be a season 2 of Made in Heaven, which is
Yes.
now, of course, postponed. So, you're kind of starting to feel that itch of like, oh my God, do I need to create my own work? We need to change the way we work. Little bit, of course, I've been doing some webinars, I've been writing some monologues, performing live. So that work has been happening, but I do begin to wonder how the future will look.
You did have a release though during the lockdown, your film on Sony Live Karak. It's just, come out and people have
Ah,
been
yes.
giving great responses. So, a lot of people have been saying that we probably did not have a release in last 1 year, but this lockdown period, whatever film has come out on the web, they've got more audiences than ever before. So how has the response to that been?
Well, yeah, it's been really great for the film to be seen because it's been waiting for almost 2 years, to get out there. So yeah, it was a year and a half ago, I think, we shot the film. So it's really fantastic that the film got out there, and yeah, I mean, it is a time where people are watching content. Yeah, got to be grateful for those things, I guess. It is going to be a challenge, however, to see how we shoot, for such things now onwards.
Not complaining here, but what, as an actor, did you always want that, okay, probably a film which has been made with so much of hard work and love, one wants to see it on the big screen, the theaters, and right now with most of the films do coming on OTT as well, this debate between whether a theatrical release fetches more audience or probably an OTT has a wider reach. So what is your take on all this? I mean, are you more than comfortable if a film comes on web because that is what people are watching most while sitting in their houses? So what is your take on all this?
It's hard to say. I am a lover of cinema and I love going to the big screen to watch it. It gives me a lot of pleasure to do that. But I also realize that the kind of busyness in the lives we live, it's not possible. So I think it's just wonderful that these platforms allow for films to come out. But I do think we are generally social creatures, and that's why theater has survived even though it has struggled for centuries. That's why you still have live music, live concerts, live dance performances, because the gathering of people is very important. I think, as we've realized in this lockdown, our
Right.
sanity is compromised from not meeting friends, not meeting other people. So I think that will not disappear, and that that will come back. It just might change in form. Yeah.
Okay, industry, the Bollywood. I mean, I'm not sure whether being a new mom now, are you ready to go back to work anytime soon, or do you want to, will this sabbatical continue for a little long?
Oh, I'm ready to go back to work, definitely. I think we're itching to go back to work. But at the same time, I know I have to be patient. I know that it's going to take time. Of course, there are some shoots that have started. And, um, you know, I just think it'll take time for people to really have an organized way of making it safe in the environment. So, a little bit of dubbing, for example, I did some dubbing the other day, and
Okay,
we had to bring our own headphones and,
okay.
just a few protocols that were there about putting gloves on, putting this mask on and everything so that everything is safe. So I think it's going to take a while for that to happen. So, yeah, I'm ready to be a little more patient, I guess.
But with so many cases being reported in Delhi, Maharashtra, and other cities, yesterday we saw so many people from the industry being tested
Mhm.
positive. So there is this scare that people are getting more that, oh my God, was it a correct decision to open up the industry so soon? Because people who stepped out for
Mhm.
dubbing, shot for some commercials, TV shoots, now everything is back to square one. They have to be stopped now. So do you think we should also again be a little more patient, give it more time? We've given it 3 months or 4 months already. So why not a couple of more than risking your family's life?
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult decision to make because we are talking about, at least I am talking about a place where I'm privileged enough to have the savings that I have, to have the environment that I have. Many people don't have that.
Right.
So a certain section of the economy needs to open up in order for people to just survive, to be able to feed themselves and their family. So unfortunately, we are in a tough situation. I think those who can afford it, I am one of those, are ready to be patient. I am definitely ready to be more patient and, find other ways to work, like working online with performances and stuff like that.
Talking about your journey, Kalki, it's been 11 years that you came in the industry. Devti was 2009. So over a decade of being a part of this glamorous industry that of course looks glamorous from the outside, but I'm sure there are so much that one puts behind the efforts and hard work and struggle. So tell me, when you look back at these 11 years spent in Bollywood, is there like a lot of contentment, gratitude, or there are things that you wish you did differently, or you wish industry was a little different towards you? How has it been these 11 years?
You know, I am grateful for a lot of the work that I've done. I think the eclectic amount of work I've done, in the sense that I've worked with a very commercial director like Ayan
Yeah.
Mukherjee, but I've worked with Anurag and I've worked with Dibakar Banerjee. So, it's a very, it's given me an exposure to all kinds of treatment in cinema. Um, I am at a point in my career where obviously I'm not in as much of a rush as I was before because I have a child. Um, I'm also just looking to do work which lasts. And it is a time where, things are changing because of web series. We're seeing a lot more content, which is, I would say, non-commercial, raw, uh, more truthful, more reflective of the real society we live in, as opposed to the Bollywood dream of like just bling and song and dance. And I think the scales have been for too long imbalanced. I think we've seen that commercial big blockbuster film for too long, and things are changing. So I am hopeful, but I think there's a lot more change. I think the kind of script writing level, the stories need more and more women telling the story. I feel there's still a lot of toxic masculinity in the commercial cinema. So I'm loving the fact that you have, Delhi Crime, for example, a show which is led by a very strong female lead, and we need more of that.
Also, Kalki, you were not someone who was a part of the industry. You were a rank outsider when you came in. You had a debut with a bang with your film, and then definitely people saw you in more commercial roles as well as a cinema that you said was a little different from what the bling Bollywood shows. So, as an outsider, we are debating this thing a lot in the industry today, how outsiders are treated and blah blah blah. I want to know from you, how has your particular experience been in Bollywood? This outsider term, has it ever come in way of your career, your success, your being cast in a film, or you've just seen fair play ever all through?
It's hard for me to answer that because I've never wanted to be an insider. I've always, I'm quite happy with being an outsider. I see Bollywood as a business, not as a family. I see it as a place where we go, we work, we're professional, and we leave. Like you go to your office and you get paid for your job and you come home. It is not supposed to be a place where, you try to make friends. It's not,
Hmm.
and it is like that for a lot of people. I think there's a popularity contest, and there is like a lot of pressure to try and be, in a certain party or be in a certain place at the right time. And it goes from every level. You see it even in like the Lokhandwala gyms where people are wearing makeup and going to the gym. You know what I mean? So there is that side to it, but I also think that right now we are living in a time where you are able to create your own content, you're able to be your own person without adhering to that system. And it's a choice that you make, and I've made that choice. I've made the choice to to do business in Bollywood without being in Bollywood all the time. I also do my podcast, I do my theater, I do my own stand up, like monologue shows. So, yeah, yeah. When you talk about this kind of system, sorry, I'm ranting too much, no? I'll
No,
stop.
no, no, please go on. Please go on.
This system, which is based on nepotism, which obviously is the word we're not saying here. I think that it's in every business. You see it in politics in this country from the beginning of politics, from the beginning of the inception of
Hmm.
this country. We've seen it in business, we've seen it in other fields of life. So I don't think we are alone in Bollywood, guilty of this nepotism. I think it's all over.
You said the correct word, of course, nepotism. We were just probably not taking the name here, but Kalki, with the kind of narrative that's there right now in the industry, this word last 4 years has been used, I think, more than ever before in Bollywood, and people have been admitting, coming out with their stories. I'm not saying it's wrong to be a star kid. That's their destiny. They've not chosen to be born in that family. It just happened, and they end up in the industry. So, so how fair, again, for an outsider, you clearly said that you never wanted to be an insider, but for other people who sometimes feel, oh, we lose work when a star kid is in the picture, oh, this industry is full of nepotistic culture and that takes away from the real talent. How fair these debates look then?
There's no point talking about fairness because it's a business.
Hmm.
If you're bringing in money to the system, if you're bringing in success to the system will change. It will make space for you. So, how do you make what you do valuable to the system?
Yeah.
That's what you got to do as an actor. You got to find another way. And yes, it is unfair. It's damn unfair that those of us who've come from outside have to work three times as hard to get that part, and probably don't get it because of somebody else who's already connected or whatever. But that's how it is, and the only way to change that is to make yourself valuable.
You have worked with so many star kids. I mean, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, you had three co-stars who are from the industry. Ritik, Farhan, and Abhay. Even Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, Ranveer, again a big star kid. Again, as a person who is not from within the industry, did you feel this star culture exists that on the set or otherwise an outsider is treated any less?
That way, I don't think I felt that.
Okay, that's great.
I've really worked with, yeah, in Zindagi, for example, Zoya herself is a star kid,
Yes.
but I feel, the treatment on that set was very professional. And yeah, I, if there's any time that I've ever felt it, it's been, it's been when I have divorced Anurag, and then suddenly, there's that weird sense of, oh, do we invite Anurag or do we invite Kalki?
Yeah, I
And
understand that. Yeah.
it's not Anurag's fault or my fault. It's just that they felt this need,
Yeah.
and because he's been in the industry for a lot longer, more established, it tended to be him who was more invited. So I felt that little bit of that popularity contest at that point. But whenever I've been on a set working, I think people are smart enough to realize that if you're doing a good job, if you are being a professional, once you're doing the job, I don't think there is that sense of being an outsider. It's just trying to get that job in the first place that's difficult.
Okay, do you really seek validation from anyone in the industry for the work you do?
Yeah, from my friends, from people whose work I admire. If Dibaka Banerjee sends me a message saying I really liked your performance, I feel very proud. um, and of course there are certain people who have also been my mentors, who've helped me in terms of my acting skills, like Adil Hussein, for example. And
Oh, lovely.
it always feels great when these people call you or encourage you. Absolutely.
So it's people, it's not awards that you really seek validation from. So I'm coming to my next.
Awards, no, awards is like, icing on the cake. It's just an extra bonus, but I don't work for the awards, no.
I'm sure you will have read your co-star Abhay Deol had very recently posted about award shows, and Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara was the movie in question where he said that he felt really bad when he and Farhan were demoted to supporting actors in an award show. They were nominated for that, and he said I could not understand how Bollywood functions, how people on their own logic created Ritik and Katrina to be the lead actors when the film was about three friends, and he did share a picture. He said it was clicked by you. So he was trying to, of course, I mean, I spoke to him and he was trying to make a point that how he did boycott award shows after that. He shared that much in his post and he said Farhan continued and I don't have a problem with that. So from you, I want to understand how much of this award culture that you've seen in the last 11 years has affected you as an actor? Has it ever kind of demoralized you when you probably didn't get nominated for a great performance that you gave?
It hasn't, because I really don't put that much importance on awards, honestly.
Mhm.
The only award which I got really happy about was the national award. I remember dancing. I was in Britannia Cafe and I remember dancing, which I don't do very often. But I have seen that happen. I remember this year when Gulshan Devaya, who's a friend of mine and a brilliant actor, was
Yes.
nominated for I think it was 4 or 5 films, and
Okay.
he in one year in an awards show, nominated for all these brilliant performances, and he didn't win any of them. And I thought, oh my god, I'm amazed. So yeah, I guess there is a system, but I feel like, again, this is system is based on business. um it's based on the fact that there are those heroes out there bringing in all the audience, and we
Mhm.
need to change that. And I definitely think that it is changing. I don't think that people are only looking at stars the way they used to. They want good content.
Absolutely. And one more thing I really want to ask you. Per se, you have spoken about it in the past also. The stereotype culture in Bollywood. As an actor who came from it, I mean, you having a different descent also, were there any stereotypes attached to you when you came in the industry, told to look a certain way, behave a certain way, talk a certain way? Has there been ever those kind of things as well? Because that also forms a
Uh,
major part of your struggle in the industry and it turns you into a person that you are.
yeah. I remember some classic things that were said to me. One producer told me to get Botox for my laughter
Oh,
lines.
really?
Yeah, so then I stopped laughing after that. Became very serious actor. I, I've had like a lot of uh, um, how would I say, attention being given to my big teeth, trolling about my big Bugs Bunny teeth. But I feel I've thankfully learned to get over that. I think, it's really important that you don't put everything into other people's opinions. Because then you just get swayed one way or other. Either you become really successful, or you become really unsuccessful, and you base your value on that of who you are. So I think it's very important to have something outside of that. An inner life, a personal journey that you're working for, which is not based on the success of how many likes you have on your social media.
So just before
um,
winding, yeah, sorry. So just before winding
no,
up the conversation, you said the last word I was coming to, the social media. Your presence, Kalki, on social media has been a great journey in itself. People get to see you, your real side, your relationship, you being a parent, you being an actor, your love for films that we've been seeing in the pictures that you are sharing. How, again, as a person and now a mother, an actor, do you maintain that sanity to deal with the toxicity on social media, the negativity that comes with? I'm sure you've been maintaining a positive approach, maybe blocking trolls or not replying to them, but then when you have a child with you, you're being extra cautious. You are sharing her pictures, videos, and there are some people who definitely will leave a nasty or a mean comment on that as well. How have you been making your peace with all that thing that comes along?
It's a tough thing to figure out when you're a parent. You don't want your kid to have to deal with your baggage. So I do try to limit, even though I'm dying to put every cute picture of her up. I'm trying to restrain, because I don't want her to suffer in the future. But yeah, so for me, the toxic stuff on the internet has been, I've had to ignore it for my own mental health. Like, I cannot sit there and read all these nasty comments every day, because it is on an everyday basis. But I realize that it's happening to everyone, and mostly to women in the industry. And I've actually just recently, a week ago, sent a video to Miss Malini. She's she's been putting together a bunch of videos to say this cannot keep going, that you cannot just randomly rape threats and death threats on women. And we've seen what's happening with the comedians as well recently. And I think it is really important that we tell people that this is our workspace, this is our office space. If we were out in the real world and somebody talked to us like that, we would report it as a crime. But somehow when it's on the internet, we think it's okay and we should just let it go. And I think that needs to change, because it is more and more our professional space, our workspace, and it needs to be a safe space for us.
Great, Kalki. That's ending on a very positive and a thoughtful note, I would say. So thank you so much for chatting with us. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Monica.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.